and gentlemen, welcome to FeverTalk, the 34th episode from the WrestlingFever.de podcast in Germany. This time in English again, and my guest is PCO, formerly known as Jean-Pierre Lafitte, a WWE wrestler or WWF wrestler in the 90s. And PCO is still active, and I'm very proud and honored to have him here. How are you, Pierre? Or should I say Cole?
Yeah, just PCO.
PCO at this time?
Yeah, just always call me PCO. It's good. I'm very good. I feel very good, Marcus. I'm actually very happy to do this interview with you and with all my German fans that I've missed for a few years, but I'm still in contact with some of them and some of the wrestlers too in Germany, and it's always a good souvenir for me, Germany.
You were in the 90s at the CWA from Big Otto once.
Yeah, I think it was in 1992. I worked, first I worked for René Lassertes in Hamburg, and then Peter Miller came to see me, asked me if I wanted to complete the tour with them in Hanover and Bremen, and that's how I started with CWA. Peter's town was more Hanover, and Otto was more Bremen, and Otto had also like Austria, the two first cities that they were running.
Yes, of course.
But I got along good with both. Actually, they signed me for the 93 years. I received the contract after I was done with finishing on December 30th in Bremen on the 92. They re-signed me. They sent me the contract by mail to sign starting in Austria for the whole year. But in between, obviously, I made it to the WWF. So I never got to go back for a second year.
I guess it was a good time in the early 90s to start in pro wrestling. You had a lot of work, yes?
Yeah, I mean, it was, for me, it was a lot of work. That was my only work, you know. I didn't do any other jobs. I could get booked for Brian Dixon All-Star Wrestling in England almost any time of the year. He would always have me there. Or I had also like 3 or 4 tours in South Africa for Jackie Cohn and his son Sean Cohn, and who also worked in Hamburg for Renee, Sean. And also I had at this time plenty of offers, Puerto Rico with Carlos Colon. The USWA called me the Jarretts. They wanted me to go there, and Memphis and Nashville and all those cities. I turned them down. I turned almost everyone down except Puerto Rico. And from Puerto Rico, it was during the time off because Otto was closed from January to almost June. So that's why I got booked in Puerto Rico. And from Puerto Rico, I went to Wing for Victor Quinones, who passed away a couple of years ago. But I worked as a tag team with Hugh Morris in Wing, which was a pretty decent company in Japan. That was my first time in Japan. And so I got to meet him, Bill DeMott.
Yes.
Who became Hugh Morris, and who became trainer at the WWE Facilities Training Center. And then he got fired, I think, not too long ago.
I remember him as former WCW wrestler and trainer, like you say. Do you remember how many matches you've got at the early 90s at CWA in 1 week? Can you tell us how much work you had at this time? It was a lot, I guess.
Oh yeah, it was a tent. We were working 7 days a week. I remember that Hanover was 60 days, so I worked almost 60 days. I barely had a day off. Some guys had the day off once here and there, but I guess I worked every day. The whole 60 days I worked. After that, we had like 3-4 days off. Then we were heading to Bremen, and Bremen was like 40 days or 35 days in a row, and I worked almost every day there too. So it was a lot of work, a match a night.
So do you have only one match at the day, or sometimes you have more?
Sometimes in England, for Brian Dixon, I would have like 2 shows in one day. And even in France too, like I worked in France and we had like sometimes 2 shows during the day, one in the afternoon and one at night. And when I worked for the CWA and when I did the stretch, I did Hamburg, it was like 45 days in a row. I work every 45 days. And it was always a practice on the Sunday afternoon. So we worked there too for the kids. And plus we had also like to do promotional things, outside, play soccer or football or whatever. And then I went and like I said, Peter Miller came to see me work in Hamburg, and then he brought me in Hanover. In Hanover, I worked like 60 days in a row, the whole time, all at the same place. We didn't move. We stayed in caravans or in hotel rooms, and it was the same building every night, and or a tent, and. In Hamburg and in Hanover, it was a big tent, and in Bremen, it was a nice building. We were there every night, but we stayed in beside the building. All the wrestlers, we all had a caravan. Either we rented one, or the ones that were more regular, they bought one, and they had like almost a house. Some had like TVs and bats and everything. And the ones like me that was there like sporadically, just sometimes, we just rented one of Peter, and it was basic, just 2 beds, and that's it. So we had to shower inside the tent and go inside the shower and do the toilet and the bathroom, things like that, were all in the tent or in the building. So it was really hard, not like a lifestyle of the rich and the famous, even though the money wasn't bad, we got paid pretty well.
Yes, of course. If we talk from Peter, it's Peter Williams, yes?
Yeah, Peter Williams?
Yes, if we talk about Peter, it was Peter Williams.
Peter Williams.
Okay,
exactly.
So I have a typical question. Yeah, how did you get into the pro wrestling business at this time? You start at 1987, I guess.
Yeah, when I first started, just start to either find a wrestling school or there's a bunch of wrestling schools, all over the place, and there's some in Germany, some in England, some in Canada and Montreal. I started with a guy named Pat Girard, and I trained with some older guys, and a guy that was very known in Europe as Pat Curry, but was not very known in North America. But all the wrestlers from Quebec, like the Rougeaus, Bravo, Martel, most of the big names, they all started with this guy, and I started there.
Okay, but why you want to be a pro wrestler at this time?
My first choice career was to become a hockey player.
Okay.
And I know hockey's pretty popular in Germany too, ice hockey. And but it's very, very popular in North America, and especially in the United States and Canada. And I had an accident on my right eye. I got shot with a pellet gun in the eye, so I lost sight. Like 90% of my sight, of the vision of my right eye, and I couldn't play really hockey at a high level anymore. So from 14 years old, I knew I wanted to be a pro wrestler. I was going to every show, and I told my parents when I grew old, I want to be a pro wrestler.
Do
They were
you
discouraged.
do you, do you had some idols or something else at this time?
Oh yeah. My idols were first they were before WWF took all over the world. It was a local, from like CWA had their talent,
Yeah.
England and Portland and New York, and it was all separate.
Yes.
It was not worldwide. Montreal, it was Dino Bravo. It was Ricky Martel. They brought the Road Warriors. They brought Nick Bockwinkel, Ric Flair, different names. But Nick Bockwinkel, and Ric Flair, they weren't really my type of wrestlers. I really like Ricky Martel. I really like Dino Bravo. They were like they really were my idols.
Okay. So after that, we know you from CWA. We talked about before, and after that you started WWF at this time, and the most people know you as one half of the Quebecers. So
Yeah.
you were the partner of Jacques Rougeau. We all know him. And do you remember how the team was founded?
Yeah, actually, after I finished in December, the last tour for Auto Vans, CWA in Bremen, I was coming home for some time off. But January 4th, 1993, Carlos Colon called me to go work in Puerto Rico because I had been sending some stuff there for a while to go there. I was very interested to go there because it was a nice weather, to get some suntan, and also it was a nice territory to work. So I got there, and after a month there, they brought some big names to work the big shows. And Jacques Rougeau was one of the guys that they brought in to work with Carlos. I was working with Jose Gonzalez, Invader One, the one who stabbed Bruiser Brody to death in the dressing room.
Yeah.
And that was my feud. I was shooting with Jose, and Jacques was shooting with Carlos Colon. And we never met each other before. And I used to watch the Rougeau on different shows in Montreal and on TV. And me and Jacques, we met, and from there it clicked. He called Vince McMahon from a payphone, told him I was a great talent and they should have a look at me. They asked me to send the tape. I sent the tape. They called me, Pat Patterson called me maybe 2-3 days after. Then Surgeon Slaughter called me with my tickets that they were ready for 2 tryouts. I went in South Carolina for my tryouts, and I worked 2 times against Jim Powers. Came back to Puerto Rico, went to Japan for 2-3 weeks. Came back to Puerto Rico, and then Jacques called me saying that we had a contract, and we were starting in June 1993 as the Quebecers.
Great story. So thank you, Jacques. And was it okay for you for being a tag team wrestler at first?
I always liked, before Jacques, my partner was Nelson Veilleux, Rick Crawford. He was with me in Hamburg, and he was with me in England, and he was with me in the Maritimes, because I started in Calgary for Stampede Wrestling, but didn't work much there. And then I went to work for Emile Dupré, the father of Rene Dupré, who had a wrestling territory in the Maritimes, still in Canada, but near the ocean. So I worked there for a summer, and then after that, I got booked in England, and from England I went to Germany. And anyways, so I always had a tag team partner, and I always liked the tag team wrestling. And Road Warriors, they really impressed me as a tag team. and the Rockers too, Shawn Michaels and Marty Jannetty. I really like those teams, even the two different styles. I like the power of the Road Warriors and their look, and I like the way they were technical and high flyers of the Rockers. So I always like both. I like to be powerful, but I like to fly too. So the two teams, even if they're very different, they really appeal to me. Like I like things in both teams. They were like my favorite teams.
So it was your wish at this time to look big. Was it your goal to look like today? You are a very impressive and big man, I guess.
Yeah, I always the look that I was trying to get for the wrestling at the time, it's not like today. Today, guys are pretty short and small, and they
Skinny.
do a lot of flippings and twisting. But before, wrestling was more for the big guys and the strong guys. You had to look like a freak a little bit to make money in the business and to draw money. It was like like two big guys meeting each other in the ring. It was people was thinking who will win this. What will be the outcome. It was something. To me, the model I really try to model my style around Animal of the Road Warriors.
Yes, of course.
The look, I really like his look, and that was how I tried to build my body to look like him. But I also liked there's different other tag teams that I forget to mention. Also the Hart Foundation, I really like them. Not Jim Neidhart that much, but the team together, I really thought they were cool with Brett and the music and everything, and some of the things they were doing. But the Anvil, I really didn't like his body that much, but it was a cool character with the mustache and the goatee and everything.
Yeah.
But also the British Bulldogs I like because I like their physiques. But to me, I felt like my body was more like the Animal, or Hawk was like their style. So I was trying to build myself as Animal, kind of. That was my goal.
Do you remember the fight between Dynamite Kid and Chuck?
I wasn't there, but Jacques told me all about it, and I've been on the net. I've heard both sides of the stories. I've heard the Dynamite Kid stories. I've heard Jacques' story, both sides of the medals, and I just think I have to say that Jacques did the right thing.
Okay.
Because Dynamite Kid, I was in Calgary when a guy named Johnny Holidays was there. He was new in the territory. He sat down, in the dressing room, and Dynamite got in the room. He said, "Hey, you're sitting at my place." Beat the shit out of him, slap him in the face.
Oh.
Really hurt him hard, threw him in the middle of the dressing room.
Oh.
Said, "You don't sit there. This is my place." And basically, it wasn't his place. And Dynamite was always a bully. He hated to scare the young kids. He hated to, he liked to scare the young kids. He hated, he wanted to be, the other wrestlers to be afraid of him. He wanted to look like he was the king of the dressing room. He was a big ribber. I don't know. He deserved it. He deserved what he got. So, I mean, he was looking for trouble all the times, and he thought that trouble was not going to happen. That was not going to be for him because he was stronger than that. But
he was a very
shocked. He did the right thing.
Dynamite Kid was a very small guy at this time. How do you remember him personally? Do you have problems with him? And who was the real leader of the locker room at this time?
Dynamite Kid was there before me. Jacques got him off wrestling. After he kicked the shit out of him Fort Wayne.
Yeah.
He had a roll of quarters in his hands, and he took all his teeth off. And a week after, the Bulldogs, they quit. They went to Japan. They did a tour there, and I guess Dynamite never got his teeth redone, and he quit the business, and he finished like he's in a room, and he's really skinny, and you saw the footage. Everybody was afraid of him, so they wanted to be on his side so they didn't have to deal with him. But really, like, a lot of people hated him. But me, I was in the same time in the WWF with Davey Boy. And he was good with Jock, and he was good with me. Davey Boy was cool.
Okay.
I had a lot of trainings with him. We traveled together. We trained together. We were pretty good friends, me and Davey. So I can't really tell. Davey never really talked about what happened with Jock and Dynamite. He never really opened up about it. He stayed pretty close on it.
I think you tell enough, and the story, we heard it before from Jacques, and that's how I heard many times that Dynamite Kid was an absolutely bully, yeah. Okay, but...
Big bully.
Yeah.
Everywhere he went, he was a big bully. I mean, he hurt a lot of people. He really hurt a lot of careers, like Outback Jack. Outback Jack was the guy from Australia that they brought in. And he shaved, the Dynamite Kid shaved his eyebrows, and Vince, I saw him before the TV taping. He said, there's no use for you like that. I can't put you on TV like that. And he got fired.
Oh, shit.
So Dynamite cost a lot of careers. He made people quit the business. He made troubles to a lot of guys. And that's why I say if you accumulate all the wrong things, all the bads that he did, all the wrongs and the bad things that he did to some of the boys, I mean, this was coming to him. He had to get a receipt somewhere from life.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just a karma. It was just karma. It was so bad.
I understand. Yeah. Your character, yes, Jean-Pierre Lafitte, still known to the fans. Suddenly you were a pirate. Whose idea was that, and how did you like it?
But it was my idea.
Oh.
Because like I told you, I lost the sight of my right eye when I was 12 years old, and I had to cancel my dream to become a pro hockey player. But I liked wrestling as much as hockey, so it was not a big deal because I did the same arenas that I would have done if I was a hockey player. I lived the same life as if I was a hockey player. Had the crowds, had the people, had the feeling, the same feeling. And I feel like I realized myself the same way as I would have done as a hockey player. And even better because it's more like it's less a team thing than it's more a single. Like if you're in the ring and you make a mistake, they all know it. Like if you're a hockey player and you make a small mistakes, people might not know it because someone else can recuperate for you, because if there's other players on the ice with you, and so wrestling is like directly on you. The spotlight is directly on you.
Understand.
The pirate came from the fact that I had one eye, and I wanted to do something positive with that. My dad always said, you gotta turn the negative into a positive. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to show that with something bad you can do something good, and that was the way I approached Vince with the idea. I wanted to get involved with people that have a handicap and things like that, and work things out. Start as a heel and turn face, and maybe get like feeling like I could be like rally the people that have handicap or have something not perfectly on their physiques, and rally those people behind me, be a good role model for them, and be a good role model for the ones that have no excuse, because they all they have all their eyes, their arms, their legs, so they have no reason to complain, and just be an inspiration, and just be like that was the really, that was the thing that I wanted to portray the most. But Vince always have to put his touch a little bit to make it look like it's not my idea, but it's his idea. So that's why he came with a name like Lafitte, which was a real pirate from France who invades Louisiana and became a great pirate there in the States, and helped them out. So he wanted to make a story with that, which I guess took a lot away from the character. Like, I wanted something to be human, and they made it like a cartoon. So I'd say half of my idea was there, and the other half was them. And it was even worse. Like, Vince Russo wanted me to talk like a pirate, "Hey, matey," and saying things like that. And I totally refused that. I mean, first of all, that was not my style, and I felt bad about it. I told Vince Russo, I said, "Go ask Vince, but McMahon, but I'm not gonna talk like that. No way."
So I think it was the time, the 90s. We have many cartoon gimmicks at this time.
Yeah, but like they didn't have to. Like they could have called me PCO. And just wearing the iPad and just more talking about the handicap more than anything else. This guy can do everything with one eye. This guy, it doesn't matter if he has an handicap, he still does it, and blah blah blah. And I could have reached out, to the people in the hospital, and kind of extend this handicap to bigger handicaps, and reach out to other people and be like a role model, a little bit like what they tried to do with that. I don't remember the kid who had just the one leg when he came in WWE.
Zach Gowen.
Zach Gowen. I remember I had like people calling me from the hospital trying to get in touch with this guy, but his work rate wasn't good enough. If he had a good work rate, if he could have handled the work, he could have got over better. But it was a whole leg too, so it was hard to work with one leg. But he got a lot of sympathy from a lot of handicapped people, and he gave a lot of courage to a lot of people that are really depressive about the fact that they're handicapped. That was my goal. That was what I wanted to do. But even Zach Gowen, they make it like a joke more, and they use his leg against him. They did so many funny things with it that it didn't make sense at the end, So I guess sometimes they kind of ruin good things that he could have done, but it's them, they know what they do. They're deciding. So even if we think we have a great idea, it doesn't mean that they think it's a great idea.
It's not always a great idea. But your character, Jean-Pierre Lafitte, was quite successful and undefeated for over 7 months.
For 8 months.
Okay. So it was 8 months.
Yeah, but the whole time I started in March 95 all the way to November, I think. With 8 or 10 months without a defeat. I thought I was gonna break Tatanka's winning streak, which was 2 years. No, I didn't really think that, but I was quite happy with the way they were handling me, with the fact that they were keeping me strong, and they had plans for me. I really proved myself as a top talent when I worked on top of the bill. I did the Jacques retirements match. We were the main event, and everyone else was working under us, like Undertaker, Yokozuna, Shawn Michaels, Razor Ramon, Kevin Nash, Jeff Jarrett, Ric Flair, whatever. All the other names, they were all under the bill. They were all under our main event. We were main eventing the Montreal Forum, which was sold out at 18,500 people. It was an awesome match, and we topped every other match. Even if Taker was there against Yokozuna, the reaction of our match was 10 times better than any other reaction of other matches. We really were like the stars of that night, and our match was really the best match of the night. And that's the way that Vince really opened his eye. He knew I could work because he saw me work as a tag team with Jacques, but he really knew I could perform as a single wrestler in main event. And that's why after that I got into a big feud with Bret Hart, because Vince knew what I could do, because he saw it in Montreal against Jacques in a big main event in front of a sold-out house for a house show.
Do you remember the plans they had with you, stories or titles or something? Beside the tag team titles, yeah?
But you mean the plans they had for me as a single wrestler?
Yes, of course.
Yeah, I remember at this time I could have a meeting anytime with Vince. He said you could come to my office anytime, discuss things with me, bring your ideas, discuss anything. The door's always open for you. Vince was calling me at home, talking to me, I was really close to him. He really, really liked me. And we never really talked. It was one time where I was supposed to become the world champion of the federation, and some people don't know. They might not believe that, but it's really true, and I have witnesses. After that, we did the Montreal Forum, and we sold out the Montreal Forum, and we worked on top. Jacques talked to Vince to be my manager in my corner because he was retired, and we were supposed to be working at the Olympic Stadium in Montreal, which held 80,000 people, and the main event was supposed to be me against Bob Backlund for the world title, and I was supposed to become the new world champion of the federation. Maybe not for a long time, maybe just for a few days, but just so that we could get the people happy in Montreal, and the whole 80,000 people that were going to be, happy that, somebody from their place became the world champion.
Yeah.
So Vince had agreed with Jacques that, we were going to the Olympic Stadium. He had agreed that Backlund was going to drop the title, the world title, to me. That Jacques was going to be in my corner to help me achieve this goal, and he was going to be my coach. And not too long after that, 2 weeks after that, we had reserved the Olympic Stadium and everything was in place to go there. Macho Man had quit to go to WCW. And then Vince called back Jacques, and he told him, Jacques, we can't go at the stadium anymore because Macho Man just left me, and I don't think we can sell out just with you and Carl and Backlund. We need a strong undercard too, and he said we don't have what it takes. And I was on the phone listening on the other line while Jacques was speaking with Vince, and Jacques really got pissed off when Vince backed off of the deal, and he said, no, Vince said, no, we're not going to the stadium anymore. And Jacques said, I already, reserved a place. I already gave money to them. I already set up the dates. It's already in the papers. The promotion has already started, and Vince pulled back. And Jacques got pissed off, and he said, well, Vince, if I don't go with you, I'm going to go with Hulk Hogan and WCW. And Vince says, yeah, you might go with them, but he said, I own Carl Ouellet. I own Pierre Carl Ouellet. It's my wrestler. So the big fight, happened between Vince and Jacques. And so I stayed with Vince. Jacques wanted me to quit and wait sometimes and go work as a tag team with him in WCW. But he had retired, and I didn't think it was going to look good. And my dream was always to become the world champion of the WWF. So I didn't want to move. I wanted to stay with Vince, so I stayed there. And Jacques started to communicate with Hulk and the WCW.
So after that, Diesel came to WWF at this time. What happened with Kevin Nash, and what were the consequences for you? I heard the story many times, so maybe you can tell the long story short.
Yeah. Well, the thing is that when I was supposed to start in '95 the character Lafitte, in March '95, and Vince told me we're gonna keep you out of Montreal for 2 years, and we're gonna build you strong. And when you come back in Montreal and in Canada, you'll be very, very over, and we'll make the people wait for you. And just before I started the character in March in '95, around '94 December or November, Vince called me home. He says, "Listen, Carl," he said. IRS just got hurt. It's supposed to be the main event against Shawn Michaels at the Montreal Forum. I have to replace him, and I would like you to replace him to work against Shawn. So I said, okay, I'm going to do it, but, I thought I was done with working Montreal for 2 years. We were going to build the Lafitte character strong for 2 years before I come back. But I wanted to be a company man and be good, so I said I agreed. So I got to the building. I was working with Shawn, so Shawn was supposed to go over, and Jacques called me during the day because we were still in touch, and he said, well, if you lose against Shawn tonight, you're going to lose all your heat, and you're not gonna be able to do anything good anymore here. He said, you can't lose to him. So when Shawn approached me with the finish and the agent, I said, Shawn, I don't really like the fact that I'm gonna put you over, Shawn got really pissed off because he said, listen, 30 guys just put me over in the Royal Rumble, and you're sitting here at home, you're just waiting to start your new character, and you don't really want to put me over. And I said, no, not really. But I said, let me think about it. But he got pissed off during the time that I was thinking about it because I said no. At the first time, I said I was not going to do it. But I changed my mind, and I went back to him like 15 minutes after. And I said, okay, I'll do it. So we did a hell of a match, and he beat me with his feet on the ropes. And I never thought anything of it, I went by and I did, as I was told, even though I kind of said no at the beginning. So after I went undefeated for 8 months, I see Kevin Nash at one of the show, like 2 months before the show in Montreal. He said, in November, it's me and you in Montreal for the world title, and he said, it's going to be the big boot and it's going to be the jackknife. So I said to myself, how come that he knows the finish already when the show's only in 2 months? And usually we get the finish the same night of the show, especially for a house show.
Yeah.
So I figured out that Shawn kind of remind him that the year before, I caused, I questioned the fact that he was going over me, and they probably hype up the clique hype up themselves with that. They hype it up, and so they really said, we're gonna really make him, pay this time. In fact, he's gonna do the job, But I was still on the hype that I was supposed to become the world champion against Bob Backlund at the stadium the year before. That I thought, with the fact that I was undefeated for so long, that Vince was going to drop the title on me for Montreal, Quebec City, and then I would drop it back to Nash in Toronto. So I really felt like they were going to give me a chance to be a champion for 2 nights and to have the people happy, in Canada. But when I got to the building, Tony Garea, the agent, told me at 4 o'clock in the afternoon that the finish was going to be a 10-minute match, and the finish was going to be a big boot in the face and a jackknife. Exactly what Diesel told me 2 months before that. And that really pissed me off. I was really mad. So I walked straight up to Diesel and I told him that if I was going to lose against him, I was going to take my bag and I was going to go home, and it was not going to be any main event at all at the Forum. So everybody got pissed off at me, and everybody got really, really mad, and it was a lot of bad talking and talking in the back and hyped up. Everybody was hyped up, and there was a lot of pressure on Nash to beat me up, for real, in the dressing room, because he's 7 foot tall, he's 200 pounds, and I told him that I was not gonna do the job for him. So all the boys wanted to see a fight. And the first one that came to me and said it was going to beat me up was Sean, with his IC title in his hands, and he was going to swing me with the belt and say I was going to kick my ass. So I just told him, if you hit me with this title, make sure you knock me out, because I'm going to kick the shit out of you. And Sean never did anything. And then just before we went for the match, which was a double count out now because I had to change, Diesel got up. He went straight up to my face, looking at me down because he's so tall, and he said, "So you don't want to lose? You sure you don't want to lose though? We're going into the ring." I said, "No, I'm not going to lose." So all the boys were on the side, with the curtain call, watching for a fight during the match, and the match went pretty all right, stiff, but all right. But as we did the double count out and we were coming back fighting towards the dressing room, to finish the evening, all the forearms and the elbows were stiff.
Okay.
It almost looked like a fight, but it wasn't a fight. But it was really stiff. And me too, I was stiff, and he was stiff. So the next day, I was at my home because it was working at my home. All the office called me one after one. Pat Patterson, Gary, Briscoes, Jim Ross, everybody called. And they all said, "Okay, now you have to excuse to Nash, say it was a mistake." I had the time to sleep on it. I felt like I made a mistake too, and it was sincere. So I got to the building. I told Nash, "I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. I'm gonna be okay tonight. I'll do the job for you in Quebec, and let's put this behind us." So during the match, all the boys are watching again. They all expect him to beat me up. So eventually I go up for my leg drop from the top rope. Kind of misjudged my leg drop. Hit him on the nose with my feet. So he thought it was he thought I did it on purpose to hurt him, to injure him.
Yeah.
So the real fight brought came loose in the ring, started hitting me and started hitting back. But in the meantime, he called the finish, and I took it. The power bomb. So the jackknife, I took the jackknife, the 1, 2, 3, but I was so pissed off that I jumped on him in the dressing room, and everybody, every agent, everybody was separating us, and it was hell broke loose, and it was crazy. It's very tension, a lot of tension. And the next day I had to go to work against him in Toronto, which, it was tough. It was a bad, time in my life where I felt bad, It was hard going to the arena, not knowing who was going to jump me in the back or if I was going to get knocked out from behind. And it was really, really bad. It was a tough time in my life. So I still went to Toronto, put my balls in, I could have quit and stay home, but I still went there. They changed the match in Toronto. They put me against Fatu. They changed the main event. So it wasn't me against Nash again. And I saw Sean one time came in from a dressing room. I felt like I should have really hit him. I didn't do it, and anyway, eventually Nash came up to me and he said, okay, because I had Sid Vicious with me, the Smoking Guns, Bob Holly, I had a lot of people on my side anyways.
Friend of yours at this time?
Huh?
They were a friend of yours at this time?
Yeah, it was really was a good friend. Me and Sid were all really tight. We were always traveling together. Even in Montreal, he was staying at my house.
Okay.
Smoking Guns were my friends too. Bob Holly was a good friend of mine too. Adam Baum, Brian Clark.
Yeah.
So we were all like one side of a clique, and the other side of the clique was the clique. So
yeah.
Everybody was ready to fight against it, one clique against the other.
I understand.
If something was going to happen to me, the guys would have jumped in.
But
so
later,
Nash knew that. So Nash came up to me and said, "Okay, now we're all grown up. No, this is behind us now. We forget about that. We are professional, and then we just go on." So I thought everything was settled now. That it was all behind us. So we go to Europe. In Germany, actually. And every night there I work against Saulo Montoya, which is part of the clique. And every night I beat him. So after the 3 weeks in Germany where I beat Aldo Montoya every night, we have a show in the States. And I think I told you what was the city. It was... Anyway, it was a house show. I can't remember the name of the town. I always know it, but now I have a blank. But it was a house show there, and it was only 2,000 people in the house shows. And the boys had called like Vince in emergency,
Okay.
So I saw Vince there, and it was Oklahoma or something like that. It was a really small town. And all the boys had a meeting with Vince, which I was not included. Like 9 or 10 of the guys, Triple H, Scott Hall, Yokozuna, Undertaker. And 9 out of 10 of the guys of the core group were in a meeting with Vince. And now they start saying, okay, we gotta get rid of some guys that are not good for the business. The business is down. Like, we gotta get rid of the clown. We gotta get rid of the what was the name? Was doing the garbage man? Remember the garbage?
Duke the Dumpster Dorsey.
Yeah, they said we gotta get rid of Duke the Dumpster Dorsey.
Yeah.
And they all said also at the end, we gotta get rid of the pirate because he was in business in Montreal and for everything, and he's still going over, it doesn't make sense. And Vince says, he said to the boys, let me handle Carl Willett. I'll handle him. I'll deal with him. Okay. It's none of your business. I'll work it out with him. So Vince kept my job against the tide of all the people that want me to be fired. Except that after that night, I was losing every night, which I kind of didn't like that, because I thought that my career was going down the drain now, that I had all the dressing room against me. But I didn't have the experience. I was still very young, I was like 26 years old.
Yeah.
So I didn't have the experience of thinking that maybe something wrong would happen with the rest of them too one day. So I was booked for Survivor Series against the team of X-Pac, 123 Kid, and some of other guys, and my team and some of other guys. And eventually, I just quit after the Nassau Coliseum on the house show. I worked with the Bart of Billy Gunn. I got beat, and I felt like I was just gonna be a jobber until they were gonna get rid of me. So I kind of quit. I had an injury. I decided I was gonna get fixed for the injury, so I told them I was gonna take some time off to get fixed, and to have the injury, to have the operation, the surgery, and eventually I went back to Jacques. We contacted WCW, and we had a date to start in September in 1996. So by the time that we go back to WCW, shit had happened in WWF. Nash wasn't happy about his money. Al wasn't happy anymore. Eric Bischoff was calling them. So two of the four big major players that moved to WCW, and NWO was the strongest thing there.
Absolutely.
So by the time we started in WCW as the Amazing French Canadian, we were supposed to get a win on the first night on Raw against the Nasty Boys. And the Nasty Boys were really friends with Hogan, so they went to Hulk and said, no, we cannot lose, blah, blah, blah. So we didn't even have our first win on our debut in WCW, so we lost to the Nasty Boys. So we were like a bad place at a bad time, bad timing. I felt like I should have, when I saw the whole thing, I felt like I should have, eat my bread there, do my jobs every night, let the time go by, let people forget about it, stay there, job every night, and then everybody would have moved to WCW. Eventually I would have had my chance to do something again. That's how I felt, But,
Carl,
it was too late.
I guess it was Russo who hired you at this time, yes?
No, it was someone who was already before in WWF. It was J.J. Dillon.
Okay.
But J.J. Dillon was there, but it was mostly Kevin Sullivan, and it was mostly Eric Bischoff himself. Actually, me, Jacques, and our lawyer, we were dealing directly with Bischoff. And Sullivan.
And Nash was there too.
Yeah, because they just, started NWO.
Yes. Did you ever have the chance to talk the things out with Nash?
Yeah, we crossed each other a few times, but he just avoided the thing. It was just a big, it was really fresh, really big head, attitude, he didn't really want to talk about anything. So
okay,
we never really had the chance to clear out. Even if he said that, just forget about that, it's been a long time, he didn't really meant it. So no, we couldn't really have a good discussion. The good discussion came just in 2009, where I felt like we were pretty good friends again.
Okay, so that's the past, and let the past be the past.
Yeah, that was just in 2009 because he came to work against me for the IWS, which is the biggest company in Canada as far as the ND, because Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, they came from the IWS and the ROH.
Yeah.
And Kevin Nash came to work against me in 2009, and he did the job for me. I beat him in the middle of the ring with a submission with an arm bar. So, but he was all cool about it. It was funny.
So you have to, yeah.
Because all his friends were saying, "Don't go there. You gotta get beat up. They gotta set you up. You gotta kick the shit out of you." And Kevin told me that he told his friends, "Hey, listen, we're in 2009. That happened, in '95.
Yeah.
So
after all these years.
So, and also like I don't hold grudge for that many years. Like now, I feel like I'm a pretty good friend with Nash, even if he's a good politician. You never know if he's truthful or not. That night we had a decent match, and we went out together. We had fun. We had a few drinks, and I felt like. And I even called him a few times at home in Florida after that, and he was picking up the phone and talking to me, and he was trying to get me in TNA. And I mean, I just felt like it was really over. It was really good. I even with Sean, I felt the same thing. So I felt like I buried the hatchet with Sean. I buried the hatchet with Nash, with Hall, I don't really know, and with X-Pac, I worked against him in Puerto Rico in 2005, and we had a hell of a match, and he really did everything to make me look good. So I felt like the whole thing was really behind us. And I worked also with X-Pac on the 60th anniversary of the NWA in the Phillips Arena in Atlanta in 2009 or 2010, and it was good. It was great. So I guess the only guy that I didn't have a good feeling about him was Kevin Nash, because he was all fucked up on pills and drinks, and we were doing an autograph sessions in New Jersey, and he tore the whole place down, and he was totally drunk and totally out of himself, and he was in bad shape. Actually, I felt I had more pity for him than I hated him. I felt bad for him. I felt like he was so miserable. He was so unhappy that I didn't really hate him. So, and then I learned later on. I watched 24 hours on ESPN or 24/7. Or it's a show, talking about people. And I learned that when he was like a bouncer at the age of 18 or 20 years old, he got into a fight and somebody tried to shoot him, and he had to grab the gun and he shot the guy. He had to kill the guy.
That was Hall. I guess that was Hall.
Yeah, Scott Hall.
Yeah.
But that gives me an incentive that why the guy became an alcoholic. He became, a drug addict because.
It's hard to forget.
Yeah, that's it. So I kind of forgave him, for everything that happened in the past.
Carl, I had one last question for your past. Yeah. If I think back to the 90s, I remember you stole a ring jacket from a man Germany loves very much. And how do you remember that fights with him and the man himself?
A lot of people hate Brett, A lot of people think he's an egomaniac, that Brett thinks about himself. He doesn't care about the others. He doesn't want to do jobs here and there. It's hard to deal with. But me, I only have good things to say about this guy. I mean, for me, he was a real mentor. He was giving his best for his pay-per-view match, his Raw match with me. I mean, we had a hell of a match. You know, I was lucky enough that he chose me to be on one of his DVDs, which he put all his best match of his career. And to be chosen from one of his best match of his career, to me, it's an honor.
You can name it.
And I worked many times with Brett, many times. And it was so fun to work the main event at the Madison Square Garden in New York, to be in the ring and his music hit and see the people go crazy for him. Or in Germany, he was so popular, so over. In Germany, he was like Michael Jackson. Like, he was coming out of the bus.
Absolutely.
Girls were crying for him.
Yeah.
Touching him, just wanted to touch him. You know, he was so hot, so over, that when I was in the middle of the ring working the main event against Brett and all the cities in Germany, just to be there and they hit the music. He was coming down the aisle. He was doing his things, you know, on the ropes. And I had goosebumps. And I was working against him. It was a hell of a feeling. And I learned so much psychology-wise, putting match together. I mean, I thought he was a great mind for the business. Very good. Like, he always came up with great matches. And it's not like, I was thinking about that yesterday. I remember, like, a babyface used to, like, in the old days, babyface, when they were making comebacks, they had fire. Like, they had the eyes, they had the fists closed, you know, they were on the tip of their toes, and you could see that they were really mad. But Brett was probably one of the first babyface that was making comeback without having fire. Like, he had always the same expression, but he got over so big and so much. You know, he never started a comeback with fire in his eye. Like, he was pretty much the same guy all, you know, during the whole match. But he had like his routine move for his comeback. But he had like good swerve, you know, good way to think that the match was gonna get over, and then a kick out, and another way, and this and that, and switch this, and switch that, and it was just a good mind for the business. So I always thought that him and Shawn Michaels were probably two of the best ones to put a match together, because I worked with Shawn a few times, and the one that worked with him in the Montreal Forum, I was one of my best matches because Shawn was so good. Shawn made me look so good. So they were guys that made the other guys look good, you know. But yeah, I guess it's what is the title? Brett's Dungeon, the best of Brett Dungeon's match or something like that.
It's I guess it's a Dungeon Collection.
Yeah, Dungeons Collection, yeah. Bret Hart's best matches of his career.
Yeah.
And actually, yeah, I'm very proud of that, to be on this DVD.
And maybe, just maybe, we have something for the fans in a few days.
Yeah. Do you mean maybe it's just have like a little contest? Have the German fans to participate in a contest that we will be doing together with my Facebook page, which is PCO Style on Facebook. Or you can go directly to my Facebook page. You can go directly to my Facebook page by typing PCOstyle.com, and that will lead you to my Facebook page, PCO Style. And then we'll have a special video for Germany, for the German fans. And all you'll have to do is like the page and the commentary, tag the name of one of your friends or someone that you would like to win the prize with you. and share it on your Facebook wall. And if you do those 3 steps, you'll be allowed to have the chance to win the 2 DVDs, Dungeons Collection of Bret Hart, that I am in it, and I will also sign 2 autographed pictures of myself dedicated to the winners that will be chosen by draw, like by a raffle. Like all the people will put all the names in in a computer, and it will be choosing 2 winners. So if you want to have the chance to win that, you will do that, and that will be in association with the Fever
Wrestling Fever and muchmedia.de, the German wrestling fan shop here.
Yeah, exactly. That's we'll do that like in collaboration with you guys.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Jeremy, by the way. So, that's the past. Now let's have a look at PCO right now. You doing MMA
Yeah, the
this time?
future or the present?
The present. Let's talk about the present.
I'm actually like wrestling right now. I'm looking good. I'm in good shape. I'm wrestling right now. I'm feuding with one of the best talent in the planet right now, which is Speedball Mike Bailey. He's been approached by NXT. He's been approached to be starting right on WWE. They really want him bad. He went 3 months for AAA with Cohen in Mexico, with Lucha Underground. He's working in Japan. He's all over the place. He's got huge following. He's a hell of a worker. I'm feuding with him right now for a big event in Montreal that will be presented at there's a 2,000 people seat arena called Metropolis in Montreal, and I really look forward to this match. It's going to be a hell of a match. And me, in the last 5 years, I've done karate and I've done jiu-jitsu. I won a gold medal in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu in Montreal, and I've been doing a lot of karate with a private course and with groups. So I've won. Grew up won up a few belts. I broke some cement blocks, with my hands and my feet.
Yeah.
And had that to my new style of wrestling. So it's the PCO 2.0 version now. And I'm still doing all the high flying that I was doing, the power moves. And I had the karate and the jiu-jitsu. Karate is more spectacular. Jiu-jitsu is like helps me, to go with some sort of submission hold, but I don't really use a lot of jiu-jitsu. I don't want to stall the match. I don't want it to be boring. I really want it to get moving, to have a lot of action, a lot of powers, a lot of kicks, a lot of karate shots, and it's very, very exciting. So far, I'm very, very, I feel like I have a lot of fans behind me. Like I said, when you'll go on my page, my PCO style page on Facebook, which is my athlete page, you'll find out some other videos that you may not understand because they're not in Germany. Some are in French, some are in English, but they are, you will love the way they're done. They're about 30 seconds to 1 minute. They're not about wrestling. They're really funny. They're really entertaining. There's a lot of humor, and all that, really got me very popular. with the wrestling fans and other people on other walks and different fields. And I can say that I'm on a good run right now. So things are looking good as of now for me in wrestling here in Canada. I like the fact that now I own, a lot of houses. I've got a real estate park. I'm a businessman. I do this wrestling thing because I love it. I cannot never say no that I won't go to WWE, but I'm not interested. I'm going back on the road 300 days a year. I'm really happy with what I'm doing here. But for 1 or 2 or 4 or 5, 6 matches, who knows? Kevin Steen mentioned my name for fun on the TV on Raw last Monday. Kevin Owens.
Yeah.
So who knows where it's going to lead? But so far, just here in Canada, I'm doing great. And I've been fun doing it. And obviously, I want to lend this into an acting career. But wrestling is still a good passion.
So, do you speak a little bit of German?
Yeah, I can say the Waschwegen is verstoppt because I had problem with my sink before.
I didn't understand anything.
The Waschwegen is verstoppt. The sink is blocked.
Okay, what do you think about a real MMA fight? Do you have an opponent of your choice? You trained with George St. Pierre.
Yes, I did train with him before his match against Matt Hughes.
Yeah.
I trained with George St. Pierre before his second match, before his rematch, because he lost his first match against Matt Hughes, but he won the second match and he won the title against Matt Hughes, and we were working out together in the gym. I was going at his house in Saint-Isidore, Quebec. He was living in his parents' house at the time. He was really focused on becoming the champion of the UFC in 170 pounds. And he was a machine. It was crazy. We trained for like 3 months together. And I was not doing the gloves. I was not doing the jiu-jitsu with him. I was doing the weight training and I was doing the cardio training. We were doing the sprints. We were doing the running fast, running with sprints. And it was during the winter. It was really, really, really tough. But he was in great shape. And I learned a lot from George. He's really dedicated to his sports. And I think he will make a comeback soon. So he's a good friend of mine.
Okay, I have one last question. Do you have any funny road story you can tell us?
Yeah, there's plenty road stories. The one that always comes to my mind is we were going in Erie, Pennsylvania, me and Jacques, to defend the title. We were late because we had a delayed flight. So we were speeding on the highway, and the police trooper arrested us for speeding. And Jacques told me before the trooper came to the car, before the policeman came to the car, Jacques told me by the end of our conversation, you will see they will escort us to the arena. And I didn't believe him. So he dropped the window, and the trooper goes, sir, you're speeding. Can I have your papers and all that? He said, listen, we're the WWF Tag Team Champion. Listen, look in my trunk. I will show you the titles. Open the trunk, show the belts, the whole thing, the outfit, the Quebecers outfit. The guys, oh, yeah, I know you guys. Yeah, I remember. So he goes, we're late. We had a delayed flight. We need an escort to be there on time. So the guy says, okay, follow me. He puts the sirens on, and the noise and everything. and we're like 100 miles an hour behind him, and we made it to the show. No tickets, no nothing.
Really? Can't believe it.
Yeah, that was so funny. That was one of the craziest things I've ever lived. That was cool.
So you can see how big wrestling was at this time.
Yeah. To be able to pull out something like that is crazy. But at the time, when we were tag team champions, I saved a lot of tickets by just people recognizing me in my car and saying, "Oh yeah, okay, you're Pierre Caldwell, you're PCO. Don't worry, I'm sorry. Okay, bye, go." Had a lot of chance, on the speed or a stop or red lights and things like that. The cuffs are really, it's like an injustice, but that's the truth of the life. When people know you, then you are a celebrity. They tends to give you chances that they would not give you if you weren't like on TV or something like that. So that's the reality of life.
So, PCO, thank you so much for giving me that last 1.5 hours. It was a pleasure.
Yeah, it's a pleasure, Marcus. I'm really happy that we've done that. I hope the German people, the fans, will come on my page, PCOstyle.com on Facebook, and they will participate. And I wish everybody the chance to win those 2 DVD Bret Hart Dungeon collections, plus 2 autographed pictures of myself, dedicated to their name. And we'll keep in touch. You tell me how it goes, and hopefully we'll have a great success with the contest.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure and an honor for me also. And great time. By the way, I love the road story.
That's a good one.
Thank you so much, pal.
Thank you very much. Okay, bye-bye.
Bye.